Hello, great to be here. So today I want to talk about React Free Fiber. I'm Thomas and I'm a freelance web developer. So React can not only be used to render HTML elements, which probably every one of you know, but it can also be used in React Native to render native elements like in iOS or in Android. But today I want to talk about rendering 3D elements with a library called React Free Fiber. So what is actually React Free Fiber? So React Free Fiber is a renderer of 3.js, and 3.js is an open source library, a JavaScript library and API where you can create animated 3D graphics. And so it's like React Free Fiber is like a Reactish way to do 3.js, and Reactish I mean you can use all the React goodness. You can use state, you have declarative syntax, and you can use all the elements 3.js exposes. So, and that's pretty cool. Here I have an image of the architecture. Basically, at the bottom you have the OS. That's like the operating system, for example, Linux or Windows or Mac. And then on top you have the browser, and in the browser runs the React application, and that's also the case here. And the browser has some APIs like WebGL, WebGPU, and WebXR that can be leveraged by 3.js. And actually, WebGL is pretty much supported nowadays. I will come to that in the next slide. But 3.js is currently also developing WebGPU support. It's a newer API that also does more low-level graphics and is a bit an improvement over WebGL. And WebXR is actually an API for extended reality. XR stands for extended reality. And it's like the Oculus Quest or the Vision. They use like stereoscopic view. And that API enables to use 3D graphics in that environment. And 3.js is also currently supporting that or developing to support it. It's an evolving standard, WebXR, but I will come to that in the next slide. So on top of that, 3.js is an abstraction of WebGL, because if you develop your application in WebGL, it's pretty low level. You would need to write a lot of code. But 3.js actually has convenient methods. It has loaders. You can load texture. You can load model files. And React Free Fiber sits on top of 3.js and makes it more Reactish. And you can use all the idioms you know about React. And that's pretty cool, as I think. So the browser supports 3.js and React Free Fiber support WebGL. It's pretty well supported, 79% of all browsers globally, according to Can I Use. WebGPU, that's the evolving standard. It's only 70% currently, but I think it's evolving fast. And WebXR is also still in development, so it's like experimental feature still. But 3.js is also working on supporting that WebXR. So here's some code samples. Let's dive in. So I have got here my IDE. And this is actually the code. And I have a local server running here. If I run here, like there's nothing here. Okay. This is my Visual Studio Code. And this is actually the code, and now I'm running it in the browser, the application. I got it locally installed. So here you see these are two boxes that are spinning. And this is a very basic example. And you will find the same example also on the React Free Fiber website. So I like it because I can explain well the concepts. So if I move my cursor here, it gets the box, it's getting green. And if I click on there, it's getting bigger. And so how is that done in code? So when we look here at the code, everybody who has seen, who knows React probably knows here the declarative components. We have a canvas, we have some lights, we have the two boxes, and the boxes are actually here function components. Here on top, they have some props, they have some states, so everything you know from a normal React application you have also got in here with React Free Fiber for 3D applications. And here, for example, you see the click handler. Here, you know it's click handler. and it just changes the click state. And when the click state is changed, the scale gets 1.5%, and then it's 1% again. And here also, like the cover, the color is hovered, and here it's like hovered, the state changes, and once it's hovered, it's green. If it's not hovered, it's blue. So it's very intuitive for people who know React. I think the code is intuitive. It's just different components, but you can use all the React goodness. So let's see some more examples here. For example, I go fast in here. This is from the free React, from the free.js library. And here you, for example, see an animation. You can rotate it with your cursor. And so everything that's done in the free.js website can also be done with React Fiber because it's just an abstraction. So here are some other examples. For example, that's more useful because that's like an e-commerce setting. You can have products that you can change, you can view in different perspectives. And here's more like art. So if you have like some sculpture that's moving. And so these things can be done with React Fiber or with Three.js. So if we move on here, actually here. So what are some of the use cases here we have? Like product visualization, for example, you can use it for, here we have the excavator, you can use it for data visualization. For example, if you have chemistry data, if you have biology data, like here a molecule, you can use it to visualize education. For example, here the 3D globe, you have a website in React and you want to visualize things in 3D, or you can do 3D websites, for example, that's emerging technology, or you can use it for programming digital twins, like you have a machine and you have some sensors, they send back data and you update the virtual twin. You can use it for architecture visualization, for 3D games, of course, for 3D art. So there are really a lot of use cases. And yeah, when you want to get started with React Fiber, you think, well, where can I get the 3D models from? So there are two methods, actually. You can design them yourself, like using 3D design applications. One is Blender, that's an open source application I can recommend. Other possibilities are like commercial vendors like Autodesk, 3ds Max, or Maya. There are plenty others. And so you can design the elements yourself, the components, or you buy, for example, in the 3D model websites, there are some popular ones. I'm not affiliated with any of those. You can use like Sketchfab, they have some models, some free under different licenses, or you have to pay for it, also TurboSquid. And so you can get the models from that sources. And yeah, how do you display these models? So currently, normally you would use a simple monitor. You have it's a 2D monitor, but the models are in 3D, so you will see it normally. But there are also evolving standards, 3D monitors. This is more experimental, and they are coming to the market now. Also, you can use normal mobile devices. Three.js and React Fiber support those too. Just the screen real estate is smaller. And also you can use these headsets, virtual reality headsets, and there you can use it with the XR standard, but also that's still evolving and still experimental, but I think we will see a lot happening in the future there. So yeah, that's about the browser for the future. I think we can skip that. And here's the last slide. So I think this is only the beginning of 3D in the web, and I think you will see a lot more in the future, and I think it's getting excited. So will it make the world a better place? It depends what you build, what you do with it. Yeah, thank you for listening, and here, if you have some questions, you can also contact me on my website. Thank you.